come on. If I got $360,000 to cash, there's a good chance I'd
You would
drive
just leave
up,
California.
Number one.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Relevant Rants. Today we got Alex and my friend Steve, and I'm here, and we're gonna rant about some stuff today. Steve, you're ranting. You're so good with this, but we don't get most of it on air.
I'm opinionated.
Yeah, you are, and I love that about
Definitely.
you. So let's be opinionated. My mom and dad told me something when I was young, and it started with allowance. And they said, Tom, you can't spend more than you have, which made a lot of sense to me.
With that attitude.
Because I got paid allowance in cash, and my allowance didn't come to me unless I mowed the lawn, and did what my parents said. So we're sitting here today, and Kevin McCarthy, I love Kevin. He's from Bakersfield, and he's our GOP. What do they call him? They call him the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
So him and Biden are meeting because apparently we want to raise the debt ceiling a few more $1 trillion. And that number is really hard for me to fathom in my head because I'm never going to reach $1 trillion.
Do you remember when it was presidents got talked bad for having a debt?
I know.
It used to be like, how much debt did you get rid of during your presidency?
No. Now, there's a lot of concern because Biden said he's reduced it by $1 trillion, but we're now raising the debt ceiling on money that we don't have, and I am like, when does it stop?
Do you think they're trying to just rack it up before a Republican becomes president, and then if that president ends up having it default, they're going to blame the Republicans for causing the default?
I wish we could all, and I know we're not all going to sing Kumbaya together. I know that. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's not happening. But I think we could all start to agree that we've got to call a timeout on spending money we don't have.
Why?
Why? Because then we start becoming, we owe the rest of the world money.
But then you're ruining the game plan.
I know.
The game plan is to get rid of the U.S. dollar.
Yes.
We need world currency.
Yeah. And we're heading that direction.
Yes. And the best way to get there is...
I agree with Donald Trump's policies. I'm not sure I agree, but I think there's a talking point here when he says default.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it doesn't stop my spending until my wife says, hey, we don't have any money in the bank.
I asked my wife if I can buy 99-cent app.
I'm like, I put the skitters on, I'm just like, whoa, maybe that's a big deal. But I think there's a problem out there, and I don't think Kevin's the problem. He's like part of the solution, saying, let's get a hold of that. And now I think the thing that he's offering up is, hey, so let's give out money through our social services, but let's put responsibility on the other side of this. Because he's saying, let's put let's put requirements on getting welfare. Let's say you got to look for a job. You got to really, really look for a job. I understand that people play with unemployment, like, we'll just send out some resumes and not really look for a job. But let's, Kevin's saying, let's put some teeth into this. And we're all employed, right? I'm getting ready to
I hope so, because I'm editing this video later.
I'm just saying, I don't mind handouts as long as they're a hand up, It's like pulling somebody up out of a bad situation. So I don't think what Kevin's doing is a bad thing. I really don't.
I believe there should be some sort of boundaries. I mean,
accountability.
You should be more schooling. If you're in school, if you're a single parent in school, fine. It should be able to, if you get a job and the job's not helping you the way it should be, it should now be a way to balance out the checkbook to make you to where you're not poverty level, but it shouldn't be a sole source of income. You should be able to stay on welfare if you're a single mom to the kids at least in the first grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So the kid now that's given you a good 6 years to have a plan. You should during that time you can have a master's degree.
I remember when we helped some people from the Katrina come out. Our church did. We brought some out here. And out of all the ones that came out, there was one girl named Juanita. You know, she came out and she changed her whole life around. She went out and she got a master's. She went through, got her GED, got her bachelor's, and got her master's at Cal State. And I remember, you know, just what she did. I mean, we really felt, you know, the one. You know, it made a difference in her life. And we felt it was worth it. You know, we brought, I think, 16 families out, 16 people out, and one worked.
Yes.
And that was because she saw the opportunity and she took it.
Yeah, my aunt has a master's. She was on welfare the majority of her life, and she just got tired and she decided to take advantage of it. And she's got a master's, and now she's a social, and she helps people go out and get social services, and she's great. I mean, like I said, it's there for a reason, but it shouldn't be there for a living.
Yeah, because the last time I was on unemployment was because at my old job, it was an entertainment company, and we were the first people to get let go during COVID.
Yes.
And everyone was like, oh, this about, like, in the politics about COVID and being cautious. And it's like, at that point, I didn't care. I didn't want the handout. I wanted my job back.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling, and that's...
It is. I mean, because there again, I said on our other show, Muscle Matters, that I applied for Medicare last week because I'm 65. And I still have insurance through my wife's work. And my wife didn't trust the fact that I thought I knew what I was doing, because in the county center thing, like, Tom needs to apply for Medicare. And I'm like, okay, well, I get it, because if there's some things that I need that Medicare will cover, they don't want to have to cover it. I get that. I get it. But it put me in a different thinking process. I'm paid into Medicare. So I've earned that. Now the insurance doesn't want to pay for it if I deserve that service. So I get that, and it makes a difference to me now that, you know, I've had to apply for it because my wife's insurance doesn't want to get hit with that cost. So I even like the fact that, you know, it's a trickle down effect, because now California is facing we had a surplus a few years ago. Allegedly, we had a surplus last year, and now we don't. But then I think Newsom's got himself in I think he's got a body part in the vice grip. And he started that reparations, which, you know, I think we've talked about last week, and Steve, you can speak to this more than I can. But he started this, it's almost like he started it, now he's got to either finish it or say, I didn't really mean it. What was the old word? Psych, you know? And I don't, you know, but I'm just saying, California can't afford it.
Well, that was his pitch when he was getting recalled.
Yeah. And so now you've got a Fox News report says Newsom is largely silent on California reparations project, because he started it, and now they've came up and said, hey, you need to pay $360 to every black resident. Total cost is going to be $640 billion, which is double the state's budget. So
that adds up.
We don't have the money.
I got a question.
Uh-huh.
How much of that 360 is going to get taxed?
All of it?
I mean, that's when you put up the thing, I was like this, man, that's a good chunk of change. Wait, they're not giving all that money without California taxes.
Well, it's funny, because isn't it like the game show, where you go on the game show, most people don't claim their prizes because they can't pay the taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all go, yay! Good card.
And they get a coupon to go eat at Denny's.
Yeah.
Like there is, Steve, I like your thinking, because there is a catch.
Yeah, I mean, we joked around last week, and I said, you know, I'm standing in line waiting for my reparation. I've got my pink slip. I'm waiting for it, but I believe there should be reparation, but not to individuals.
You know, Steve, and I don't have a problem with that, because I look back at the Civil War, and after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, you know, they didn't get what Abraham Lincoln said they were going to get, you know, as they become freemen. 40 acres,
40 acres and a mule.
And so I think it is, but I think you have to go farther back than that, because I think the Mexican citizens that were living in California when we took California from the Mexicans have you know, when I say that, you know, I got to wait. That word probably is not politically correct, but my son-in-law is Hispanic. My daughter's last name is Jimenez, so they're affected. So I'm like, Okay, let's go a little farther back. Then I think if you go farther back, you're talking about Native American.
Well, and that's the problem with paying individuals
Yes,
money.
I agree.
And I think the reparation should be, if you look back, are you familiar with the Black Panther Party?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what they were doing inside the Black Panther Party?
Maybe not details.
New York had New York, Chicago, these different areas. They had black trade schools. So they taught you how to be an electrician, how to be plumbers. You learned a trade, a mechanic. So you learned a trade. So black people learned how to have their own businesses and be their own. I mean, most people in neighborhoods don't realize that a plumber makes 6 figures a year. That an electrician makes 6 figures a year.
Yeah, they're good jobs.
They're really good paying jobs. So I think the what's that word I'm looking
Reparation.
for? Yes, that word should be to where they're putting trade schools back in neighborhoods.
Oh, I love that.
And the trade school should not be and a business school, because every minority dreams about owning their own business, but nobody knows how to balance a checkbook.
We talked about that.
So that should, I mean, instead of giving people cash, because everybody knows, come on, if I got $360,000 to cash, there's a good chance I'd
You would
drive
just
up,
leave California.
Number one. But there's a good chance I'd probably drive up with a Lamborghini. Like,
Yeah.
I went and bought a used Lamborghini. Hey, I picked it up for $60K.
Your shoe collection just increased.
Exactly.
There's those airbags, those Back to the Future airbags. I'm pretty sure I'd have a pair. And that's the problem with giving an abundant. It's a lottery curse. Yeah. If you roll that money back out into the neighborhoods, it's the lottery curse. How many people go broke with the lottery?
Yeah, the majority.
Or end up dead.
Yeah, so, 360
Or mad at your family.
360 is not even enough to buy a home. Let's be honest. It's not enough to buy a home. You can't buy a home with 360. Not that's why you have to leave California.
Exactly.
So 360 won't even buy you a home. So let alone if you bought a $360,000 home, that's, what is that taxes at the end of the year, California, 13, 14K? So you get 13, 14K waiting for you at the end of the year. Where are you going to get that money from? So now the houses are, this is the pimp, this is the hustle. So everything that you're going to buy, you're going to lose, because I bought a Lamborghini. I can't afford the oil change. I can't afford the tune-up. It's going to look real cool while I'm honking the horn, but I'm going to rack up 3,000 miles.
Those gold-plated brake pads are expensive.
Man, $12K for an oil change, shit, but I'll look real cool for a little while before I put the for sale sign on it. And what's going to end up happening is there's going to be so much money just dumped back into the system, just like a lottery winner. And it's going to happen, and the man is going to come along and swoop up that house you didn't pay taxes on.
Yep.
He's going to swoop up that nice car that you didn't pay tags on. He's going to swoop it all up and take it all back, and you're going to be back in the neighborhood because there was nothing taught. That's why I don't believe it should be individual money. It should be trade schools.
And a brand new repo show.
Have you ever? Is there a phone number you could call Newsom on and get drop this Jim in his mind?
It's out there. It's been put on the table.
I'm sure he's fully aware of it.
No, it's been put on the table.
And I love that.
But what sounds better? Hey, I'm going to set up future generations, because let's face it, most people are too old to go. Most people that want this money, ugly statement. Most people who want this money don't want to go to work anyway. So if I'm telling you, I'm going to set you up with a good trade job where you can have your own business, you can be your own person, you can establish your own generational wealth, because we joke around Sanford and Son, it was and Son. Yeah. So now Bob and Son can have their own business
and break the curse.
Pow!
I love it. So here we have this. This is back in the news, and doggone it, I think the powers that be are trying to, I love the analogy when you put black and red ants together. They're fine until somebody shakes the container, and it gets them all angry and they're fighting each other. So on Greg Gutfeld, he says the woke mob is reshaping the narrative to make Jordan Neely a martyr. And
no one's surprised.
Yeah, and I don't have any personal vendetta against this guy, but I think what you're doing is you're making this Marine who stepped forward the villain. And I don't think that's an accurate picture of what happened.
And their lives are the polar opposite ends.
Yes.
One served our country, the other one spent time
in prison,
destroying things.
Criminal.
Yeah.
So apparently, Jordan Neely was arrested 42 times prior to the incident where, Penny stepped in, and Jordan Neely passed away. That's a tragedy. It is. But the part of the arrest includes kidnapping of a 7-year-old girl in 2015. Why do we have to hear about this, and why are they ashamed to not represent his life like it was? Because they got to shake.
Because it's a fallacy. It's a joke.
They got to shake it up.
And it's one thing. It's one thing if you're some guy that's like maybe you're a thief, or maybe you're just like a non-violent criminal, or even if you're slightly violent. But the second you bring up kidnapping a child,
yeah, because he is mentally ill.
yeah,
That and so then in 2019, so there we go. 4 years later, he punches a 64-year-old man in the face. Then in 2021, Jordan Neely slugged a 67-year-old woman in the face as she exited the subway, breaking her nose and fracturing her orbital bone. The dude belonged in prison, not on the subway, or in a facility to help him with his mental problems. And so now they're making him a martyr, and we know that they want to do that because they want to shake up the race card and make every man.
It's a very easy shakeup.
It is. Honestly,
because of the black community. I remember I had a cousin that was very close. He was an older cousin I was very close with. When I was growing up and met him several times, he'd fly in from Tennessee. They actually hung him from a tree, cut off his genitals, and shoved them in his mouth for being a black man that dated a white woman. So this narrative is very easy to spark up. And so the reason they're making him a hero, and I'm against him being a hero, I'm with everybody else, but it's real easy to make him be a hero, is because I have this story, and I have several other stories, personal stories, even that's happened to myself, as being the wrong race in this country. So it's very easy to take this and make this person a hero in the eyes of, because there's been so many incidents that happened. And so now, rather than there actually being a hero, and this guy, this kid right here, I feel bad for him because he stepped in. He was a good Samaritan. Anybody in their right mind knows that this is wrong. But it's easy to make this situation and build it up in the community. Like you said, it's real easy to shake the ants up because everybody has a story similar to the one I just told. And so it's real
personal.
It's real easy to go, we're going to slap this person on the milk carton and put it on the top shelf when this person should have never been on the streets. The young man, from all accounts that have been given, was stepping in to help.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, did they do a toxology on this guy?
I haven't.
I haven't seen anything, and I wonder if they did.
I'd be surprised if it points negatively.
Well, they'll never. He's in the ground now, so you're never going to get it now because that would mess their narrative.
Well, I'm
up.
sure it happened, but they never wanted to.
I mean, that's like going back to Floyd. He was fentanyl out. I from years and years and years and years and years of having.
Because you're a professional in the protection business, because you've been a bouncer for how many years, Steve?
Oh, for years. Better part of, I started when I was 18, and I think I threw it up when I was 47, 48.
And you were the door guy for a lot of businesses that were frequented.
And what ends up happening,
and they're popular.
Yes, what ends up happening is, then a lot of police officers can speak on this, because a lot of correction officers, because you have to deal with people on day to day, especially the police officers there in the street. And you just see a person and they seem like a regular person, and you're trying to figure out what is going on with this person. It's taking everything I got and then some. And most rational people, when you twist them up and tell them stop, they will stop. And you can feel the energy leave their body where you don't have to fight them anymore. When your brain's not right and you're wired wrong and you're drugged out, there's been situations where I've seen the coke head get dropped and the coke head stands back up and gets dropped again and stands back up. And it's like, hey, stop hitting the coke head. He's going to have brain damage and die, because they can't shut down. And unfortunately for this young man, I don't know what the toxology was. So I don't know, because normally in situations, I would tell people, when you stop fighting against me, I'll let you go. I don't want to be down here no more than you do. And you can feel that, all right, I quit. Okay, cool. Let's get up and let's leave. So I don't know how much training. I know he was military, so he's got to have some form of hand-on-hand training. And I don't know if the guy that he was wrestling against ever just relaxed, and so he knew that the fight is gone.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
I love the angle you bring, Steve, because you've got personal experience and just subduing somebody until they quit resisting or they quit being a problem.
Yes, you can feel their energy, and that's why when I see things and people say, "Oh, the cop needs to let him go." I've been in that situation, and you don't want to. If you have the point of advantage, the last thing I've made the mistake where I'm like, "All right, bro, you cool, get up," and all of a sudden I'm no longer at an advantage, and now I'm back into another fight. I don't want to get back. I got you. I'm in charge. I'm winning this one. I'm not giving you the opportunity to get back to your feet. That's
I may not get back to this position
Yes,
again.
yeah, because I had to.
Because you
get
don't know
here.
if it's life or death.
And I've been shot at. I've put guns pulled on me. I've had knives. I've been stabbed. I've been hit with bottles.
Yeah.
New. I don't know what you got. Like you said, I don't know. No, this is stop. We're stopping this.
Yeah. There again. So there again, I feel bad for Jordan Neely, but I don't think Penny should be taking the heat for the whole thing too. Well, Steve, you're a New York Giant. You're a New York Yankees fan. I'm a Los Angeles Angels fan. But I think
Mr. Alex, we forgot to ask him.
what baseball?
I've been to a few Dodgers and Giants games, but
I got you.
I actually, what's funny is I actually really enjoy like going to baseball games, but like I care when I'm at the game. I don't care anywhere else.
Yes.
It's funny.
It's my little battle. Like that's the canon.
The watching factor is a big deal. I mean, I grew up in Bakersfield when the Bakersfield were the Bakersfield Dodgers.
Yes.
So I saw a lot of great games. I saw Garvey
I was
play
a huge
here.
Dodger fan as a kid.
John.
Then they sold the team.
Yeah. Ron Say played here. So the Dodgers have got themselves in a quandary, and I'm wondering how they're going to get out. And there again, I'm not a Dodger fan anymore. I'm an Angel fan. You're a New York Yankees fan. I think Alex is probably more of a Giant fan after this last thing. But what happened this week was, or last week, within a 7-day period, the Dodgers were going to honor a drag group mocking Catholics, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. They were going to honor them at the game that they're going to have to let the people of alternate lifestyles, come to the game, and they're going to celebrate it. But then I think they heard some bad things about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And so then the Dodgers decided
Say that word again. I want to hear the Sisters of what?
Perpetual Indulgence.
Oh, my goodness. That just goes every place. Keep
The
going.
word perpetual means going forward continually, right? And indulgence,
Yeah, that's the word I'm
giving
talking
in.
about. That's the word I'm talking
It's
about.
the opposite of a nun.
Yes.
and so the LGBT, so basically they booted the anti-Catholic group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Then the whole LA Pride pulls out of the Dodgers Pride Night after the drag nun group is disinvited. So now the Dodgers can't win, can they? I mean, they were going to invite them on the night that they were celebrating, the Pride. And then all of a sudden they said, no, you're a bad group. You're uninvited. Then everybody's like, hey, if they aren't invited, we're not coming to the party.
I want to say something, and this is more like coming from like a general perspective. It's like I've never seen a group simultaneously say accept us, and then simultaneously push everyone away.
Yeah.
It's always been like I want one hand's pushing and when the other hand's pulling. And it's like, and you're the one in the wrong the entire time.
Well, it's funny because now USA Today has one of our great journalistic. They used to call the magazines rags, and I think it's kind of more of appropriate nowadays than anything. But the journalistic USA Today said Dodgers fail miserably, crumble under pressure from disinviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I mean, wow. It's like they go on and they talk about how, being in a city like LA, you need to, I see this thing, it's a snowball. And honestly, Steve, you and I both said, now that the Pride group, may protest a game, I want to go to the parking lot because I know those Dodger fans.
To me, this just shows, because we're what is today, the 22nd?
Yeah.
We're 9 days away from every corporation in the United States changing their labels and putting a rainbow on it.
And thinking it's over?
Yeah,
Goes away.
So the Dodgers are this right here is the embodiment of that.
It's a blue class workers team.
Yeah, you're not doing it because you actually believe in the movement. Like, hey, I believe what you like. Like back in the day when Dr. King marched, a lot of businesses changed the way they worked because we believe that this shouldn't happen.
We believe in civil rights, and we do. I believe
So
it 100%.
you look at a corporation that does not actually believe in the sisterhood of indulgence, like whoo. So they were okay with Los Angeles has a huge gay community. They were okay there, and then they decided to, for whatever reason, somebody in marketing, and it's always somebody in marketing that goes,
ask Bud Light,
right there, let's do that. That right there should be the face of everything. Like out of everything and half the time the people that are in marketing, I'm like, how stupid are you? Like, do you not know the core class of a Dodger is a Hispanic? You go to a Dodger game, it is Hispanic. They are coming up gang banged out in lowriders with shinier flakes than my Dodge has. So, and the Latin community is mostly Catholic.
Yeah.
So you're going to have people that are their whole outfits, and the reason they're doing this is to throw their face into the conservative world of religion. That's just a thumb in your nose at religion, let's be honest.
Yes.
So you've got these people that are thumbing their nose at the Catholic religion, which is if you went person by person to a Dodger game, is probably the number one religious group at the time.
And even if they aren't, they're going to say they are.
Oh my God! Oh man! Every lowrider has rosary beads. Every house has a candle. I mean, and you're going to march. And somebody in marketing said that's the thing to do, and somebody in management said, "Excuse, we're doing what?"
Are you an idiot?
like Budweiser, we're getting away from the what they said, the frat boy image that we've had for years. Well, last time I checked, frat boys drink the most beer.
Exactly.
The cake stands were invented by frat boys, and those are kegers.
Well, what I find pretty humorous about this whole thing is that, like, I'm 99% sure that this is not the first Pride themed thing they've done.
No.
And then also, so why are they getting upset when this is not obviously going to also be the last time they're doing a Pride thing?
No, it might
guaranteed.
be. It might be.
Yeah.
Well. So let's go back to 2021, where the state of Georgia decided to require voters that are mailing in ballots and in person to have an ID. So MLB, Major League Baseball, took the All-Star game away from the Atlanta Braves and moved it. I mean, wasn't that a social statement? I'm just saying. And Steve, didn't we just
Make
sit here?
sports political. That always makes it more fun.
I'm like going, wow. So what is the MLB going to do with this one? I don't know. I mean, MLB, you're on the hook here. I mean, it's like, what the heck? I mean, you have one of your star franchises,
Historic
franchises that just did something to offend a social group. And now
it's not even like you said, it blows my mind. Like the majority of the gay community looks at these people like, huh?
Yeah. Also, do they even want them to represent them?
I don't know. They pulled out. They pulled out of the thing because they said they couldn't go. But the majority of the gay community looks over and goes, "Ah, man.
Why are we having to make this decision?"
It's like, bro, really?
We wanted to go enjoy a baseball game.
Have you
That was
ever?
honoring us.
How many gay men do you know? Like gay men, not queens, but actual gay men.
I believe maybe one.
Okay, Tom, You've been
a lot
around.
more.
Gay men are just like you and I. They want to go to the ball game. They want to have a hot dog. They are not queens. They are men that you would go like, oh, bro, you're gay? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you know, no one cares.
no one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just like I said, somebody in marketing went, hey.
We're in a point that we don't even have to worry about what to rant about. They give us stuff to rant about.
My goodness. Could you imagine if they would have been on? I mean, somebody in management had to go, we're going to do what with these? No. Have you not seen how Dodger fans stab Dodger fans? Like, they stab Dodger fans. Like, they're on their own same side.
It's a civil war.
Yes, same side.
I think Dodgers is one of the only stadiums that the opposing team doesn't wear their gear at.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been to a few of them. I'm like, who's the other team's fan?
When my daughter goes with her friends to the Dodger games, I say, wear the Dodger gear. I mean, don't wear Angels gear. Wear Dodgers gear.
Leave by the 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before they start playing the long song that's a drinking song. Do you know the American anthem was an actual drinking song?
No, I didn't.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, my goodness. Go down the rabbit hole for the American anthem. It was actually a drinking song. They originally made it for drinking.
Oh, that's great.
I dig it.
That 7th inning stretch is for a reason.
Yes. Stretching out those beers.
It's like, Steve, there again, you worked in a lot of establishments that have the last call for alcohol.
Yes, and that's what the 7th inning is.
You saw the bar get rushed.
Yeah.
They sold more beer in that.
I used to argue with DJs like, hey, this is our money time. This is our money time. Slow the music down so everybody goes to the bar and understands that this is their last chance to buy a beer.
Yes.
And then they're going to leave their beer and go dance and then slow the music down and say it again.
I love it, Steve.
Barbacks pick up everybody's drinks when they go dance.
Marketing. So, hey, I always love ranting with you guys. And hey, guys, Joe Biden, your administration, Newsom, you give us stuff to talk about every week. There again, hopefully Kevin and President Biden, they're meeting together, and working this whole deal out. And hopefully you can get this out because, I guess it's going to cause a global recession.
Hey, you're not going to be mad at me when I pull up with my Lamborghini, are you?
No.
Okay, because I know it's going to affect your taxes. My business taxes are going to go through the moon. So I'm putting half that money aside for next year's taxes.
It's so funny when people understand economics. And I'm not sure. I liked it when politicians had to, understand economics. But I don't know if they have to understand economics nowadays.
Have you heard AOC talk? I don't think she understands how that the left shoe and the right shoe go together unless she puts an L and an R in there.
She was a bartender.
Yeah, I know she was.
I'm just saying she understands last call.
Yeah, that's all she understands.
So the printing machines, I think they say, have they run out of ink yet? I think that's the basic standard of like, well, if we still got a printing machine and prints money, we got money. And it's like the economics are, you have to have stuff to back up the money.
Oh, you mean that stuff that we stopped making oil? Like we stopped pulling up the stuff that backs our dollar?
No, because we
the gold standard.
We
left the gold. We went to oil.
Oh yeah, we left it forever ago.
Yeah, we're an oil-based company, but we don't drill for it no more.
Because we're trying to make friends of the Russians and the Iranians and the Chinese because we're buying oil from them.
Oh yeah, we're anti-Russia, but we buy the oil.
Yeah. So it goes back to ink. If we still have ink, we're printing money. And we'll just keep printing money. So the economics doesn't go to... I mean, honestly, sitting through those economic classes and my head was ready to explode. You know that emoji with the top the head off? I sit there and I go, I finally get it. I finally get it.
Take you to get your own checkbook?
You gotta sell stuff to have stuff. It goes back to my dad paying me allowance for mowing the lawn. Tom, you don't get money unless you mow the lawn. Oh, I get it. If I mow the lawn, I can buy my comic books. But no lawn gets mowed. Tommy doesn't have no money.
I remember my mom taught me a life lesson. I was making really good money working in the oil fields, and I wanted to borrow $20 to get something to eat. My mother, I called her on the phone. I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to drive over, borrow 20. I want to get something to eat. She told me, take a nap and drink some water. I won't be hungry when I wake up. And I was like, dude, I make money. She goes, take a nap. You won't be hungry when you wake up. So guess what I learned not to do? Spend my last 20.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how much you make.
Oh, yeah. I had a good time that night at the bar, though.
Yes.
Yo, I had lots of friends, too.
Yeah.
Couldn't borrow 20 from them.
And she didn't even ask you what you spent it on. She just says drink water and so it'll be full. And you won't need.
And take a nap.
Yeah. Hey, wisdom from mothers.
Yes.
So, hey guys, enjoy doing relevant rants with you because they are relevant and we get to rant. And if you like us, that's fine. You know, if you don't, leave us a comment. And hey, we have broad shoulders.
Yes. The world needs to go around. So if you have a difference of opinion,
Yes.
love to hear, because that's what makes the world go around.
It is.
If everybody followed each other and had the same opinions, we'd just all be robots and that'd
Yes,
be boring.
yes, yes. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good one.